So I'm sure a lot of you have witnessed firsthand the negative impacts that competition can have on a person's mindset as well as their actions. For example, I've heard stories about students who will purposely sabotage other students' grades in order to elevate their own grades. Another example, I've heard stories about students who will physically push other students out of the way in order to get a seat closer to the professor in class. These are a few examples of how competition can lead to a toxic environment, not just for the person who is overtly competitive, but also for the other students in that environment. And this is why it is my personal belief that cooperation, not competition, should be emphasized in learning environments, especially when it comes to training future healthcare workers such as ourselves. Cooperation is super important, in my opinion, not only for improving the quality of care you can give to patients, but also for increasing the support and uplifting that we give to our other healthcare workers in order to help everyone cope with the demand and stress that comes with working in medicine. These patients should be our main priority. Their care is in our hands. They're trusting us to serve as reliable leaders during their time of need. If we're instead focused on trying to one-up each other or prove who is the best, what will that accomplish? That will just damage the patient's trust in healthcare, and in the end of the day, it will reflect badly on us as healthcare workers if we let competition go too far. Think about it from the patient's perspective. They're looking to us in their time of need for healthcare support. How are they supposed to think about medicine when they see us trying to one-up each other rather than trying to treat them? In the end of the day, we are supposed to serve as reliable leaders on their journey to recovery. How can we focus on doing that job when instead our main job shifts to, oh, I want to be the best person? How is that supposed to work? That defeats the whole purpose of being a doctor. People not trusting healthcare is especially damaging to not only their own health, but also to the image of medicine and science, and to the health of their overall communities. Public health interventions can only work whenever the community willingly partakes in it and if they trust it. Medicine is going to constantly evolve. Medicine is going to change further and further as we go along, and new interventions are going to come out. These interventions are supposed to help people, but how are they supposed to help people if people don't want to believe in them, if people don't trust them? This is why increasing that trust is very, very important to do, and healthcare workers play a crucial role in that. Competition is also harmful to healthcare when it comes to making sure your fellow healthcare workers are doing well themselves. Working in healthcare is a very demanding, very stressful field, as I'm sure many of you know. Especially during the pandemic, we heard constant stories about healthcare worker burnout, people retiring early for this, and many other reasons as to why healthcare workers did not feel supported. And again, competition is only going to make this process even harder. We need to be there for each other in order to make sure we're all doing okay. After all, we're healthcare workers. We're human beings as well. We have needs. We all want to feel supported. We all want to be there for each other. Our jobs are only going to be easier if we ourselves are doing well. Competition also tends to take the focus of healthcare away from the patients, and it tends to be more about fulfilling some self-satisfaction at the end of the day, which to an extent is important, but that should not be the main focus of healthcare. The main focus of healthcare, in my opinion, should be improving the patient's well-being, being there for them in their time of need. In the end of the day, what do you get from competition? The way I see it, competition only acts as a fuel source for that unhealthy mindset of, am I doing enough? I touched on this in one of my previous videos. Whenever you feel like you're not doing enough, sometimes you may tend to do more and be content for a short time, and then at the end of the day, you'll feel unsatisfied, do more tasks, and keep on going down that dangerous cycle. I don't blame people for feeling like they have to be competitive in order to succeed, given how stressful it is to become a doctor, to get that seat in medical school. However, it's very important to be aware of the damaging effects that it can have on your mindset and you as a person if you let this competitive nature foster. Getting into medical school and getting that seat naturally encourages us to an extent to be competitive, to try to be the best of the best, to stand out from other applicants. However, I touched on this in one of my previous videos. The main goal of being a good applicant is to introduce yourself, to be who you are as an applicant. You don't have to be the best of the best in order to be a good doctor. And besides, by being yourself and encouraging that from a younger age, you're more likely to connect with people that way. By being the true you rather than trying to be the ideal med student, trying to be the best med student, You can connect to people more easily and form more authentic connections. You come across less robotic and less perfectionistic, and you come across as more genuine, more authentic, more caring, more empathetic for patients. And in my opinion, if you're able to do that, then you've fulfilled the number one goal of being a healthcare worker: to treat sick patients and help them regardless of who they are. I speak from first-hand experience working with patients when I say a united group of healthcare workers is more beneficial to any patient than a group of healthcare workers who are constantly trying to be the best of the best. And I encourage many of you to employ a sense of cooperation rather than competition as you go about your pre-medical journey. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.